Hello and welcome. The very first unit in our legal studies is judiciary, and before we begin with our judiciary, let's have a quick look at the hierarchy of Indian judicial system. We all know the apex body is Supreme Court, then comes the High Court, and then we have subordinate courts at district level as well as specialized tribunals. Now under subordinate courts at district levels we have civil courts as well as criminal courts. Under specialized tribunals we have tribunals such as service tribunal, tax tribunal, debt recovery tribunal. Now tribunals are relatively a new concept for you all, and we'll be studying about it in detail later in this same unit. Structure and hierarchy of courts and legal offices in India. The Constitution of India lays out the framework of the Indian judicial system. India has adopted a federal system of government which distributes the law enacting power between the center and the states. Yet the Constitution established a single integrated system of judiciary comprising of courts to administer both center and state laws. The Supreme Court, located in New Delhi, is the apex court of India. It is followed by various high courts at the state level which function for one or more number of states. Now till here we have read that. Very first thing, I hope everyone is aware what is the difference between federal system and an integrated system. What do we mean by federal system of government, where the power is distributed among center and state government, right? And when we talk about integrated system, we have a combined system, such as we have the same Supreme Court, we have the same judiciary, we have the same process. It is not distributed, the power of Supreme Court are not distributed among center and state. Okay. Now Supreme Court is our apex court and it is located in New Delhi, and it is followed by various high courts. We know this from our class 6 that we have Supreme Court, this is the apex court of India, and then we have high courts. High courts are followed by district and subordinate courts which are known as lower courts. Lower courts in India. To supplement the functioning of courts, there exists specialized tribunal to adjudicate sector specific claims such as labor, consumer, service matter dispute. Right. Now it is saying that under high courts we have subordinate courts which are known as lower courts in India. Okay. And parallel to that we have tribunals. What is the purpose of tribunal? What is the functioning main reason of tribunals? This is to supplement the functioning of court. What do we mean by supplementing the functioning of court? This is to help courts. Okay, in a way it is to help courts. These are very much sector oriented. They are specialized and deal only in their specific sectors. We'll study about them later. Hierarchy of Indian judicial system, we have just seen that Supreme Court, High Courts, then we have subordinate courts at district level and specialized tribunals, right? Under district level subordinate courts we have civil courts as well as criminal courts. Under specialized tribunals we have tribunals. Let's study about Supreme Court of India now. Supreme Court of India came into being on 28 January 1950. It replaced both the Federal Court of India and the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council, which were at the apex of the Indian court system under the colonial era. Right, first thing first, colonial era refers to the times when we were under the control of Britishers. Secondly, when Supreme Court came with a vision, with an idea of having an integrated system of judiciary, right? So it replaced our that time federal courts of India. That time we were practicing federal courts. Okay, and Supreme Court came and replaced it. What do we mean by Privy Councils? Privy Councils are councils which present suggestions or advisories on legal matters especially. Okay, this is a practice done by Britishers. The Constitution of India as it stood in 1950 envisaged a Supreme Court with a Chief Justice and 7 judges. When we came up with Supreme Court initially, we had an idea, we had an image that we'll be having one Chief Justice and 7 judges. Okay, but our leaders that time were aware that as we will grow, our population will grow, our workload will grow, we will need more judges. So they gave power to parliament to increase the number of judges. It's written right here, the parliament was granted the power to increase the number of judges in the coming year. At present, the total strength of Supreme Court is 31 judges including Chief Justice. Okay, it is not Chief Justice plus 31, it is 30 plus 1 Chief Justice is equals to 31 judges. Okay. Now let's study about high courts. India consists of 24 high courts at the state and union territory level. Union territories are also under some of the other high court. Each high court has a jurisdiction over a state, a union territory or a group of state and union territories. Okay. Can you think of an example where two states or more than two states share the same high court? Think about it and let us know in the comment section. Below the high courts exist a hierarchy of lower courts functioning as civil courts and criminal courts as well as specialized tribunals. Right, so civil courts, criminal courts as well as specialized tribunals or tribunals as we call them comes under high court. The Madras High Court in Chennai, Bombay High Court in Mumbai, Calcutta High Court in Kolkata and Allahabad High Court in Allahabad are the first four high courts in India. Okay. District and subordinate courts. The courts that function below high court are popularly known as lower courts. They consist of district and subordinate courts. Courts which work under high court are known as lower courts in India and they consist of district as well as subordinate courts. District court भी lower court है और subordinate courts को भी हम लोग generally lower court में ही consider करते हैं. Each state is divided into judicial district presided over by the district and session judges. The judge is known as a district judge when he or she preside over a civil case and a session judge when he presides over a criminal case. Okay, so here is a clear distinction between district judge and session judge. When a judge is presiding over cases of civil nature, it is a district judge, whereas when a judge is presiding over cases of criminal nature, he or she is known as sessions judge. Rest, they both work at district level. The district judge is also called a metropolitan session judge when he or she is presiding over a district court in a city which is designated as a metropolitan area by the state government. If any state government, firstly metropolitan areas कौन decide करता है? State government decide करती है. If state government says that this is a metropolitan area और उस area में कोई district judge है तो हम उसे क्या कहेंगे? Metropolitan session judge. That's it. इससे अलग कुछ नहीं है. Okay. District judge may be working with additional judge, district judge depending upon the workload. Now in some areas there is a huge workload. The workload is like too much. So they also have the facility of having an additional district judge. The district judge is the highest judicial authority below a high court judge. Right after high court judge we have district judge. Okay. The district judge also holds appellate jurisdiction and supervision over all subordinate courts below it. What do we mean by appellate jurisdiction and supervision? It keep an eye on functioning of its lower court, subordinate courts, plus if you are not satisfied किसी लोअर कोर्ट या सबऑर्डिनेट कोर्ट के डिसीजन से, कोई ऐसा कोर्ट जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट्स के भी नीचे है उसके डिसीजन से आप सेटिस्फाइड नहीं है तो यू कैन गो एंड मेक अपील इन डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट. ओके. On the civil side, the subordinate courts below the district court include in ascending order junior civil judge court, principal junior civil judge court, senior civil judge court, also sub courts, also called sub courts. Now subordinate courts on criminal side in ascending order includes second class judicial magistrate court, first class judicial magistrate court and chief judicial magistrate court. In civil matters we use principal civil judge, senior civil judge. Okay. And in case of criminal we use judicial magistrates. Okay. Apart from the subordinate courts, municipal courts also form a part of this hierarchy. They are the lowest in terms of handling matters of civil nature and function below the subordinate courts. Now we have municipal courts, they handle civil nature matters and they are lowest. Okay. Their pecuniary limits, meaning the court's ability to hear matters up to a particular claim for money, are notified by respective state governments. Now, what is their limit? कौन से क्लेम तक के किस अमाउंट तक के केसेस म्युनिसिपल कोर्ट्स हैंडल करेंगे, ये स्टेट गवर्नमेंट डिसाइड करती है. इसीलिए किसी भी एक स्टेट के म्युनिसिपल कोर्ट की लिमिट दूसरे स्टेट से अलग हो सकती है. ओके. Now we have some points to remember. A group of judges sitting together on a legal matter in the court constitutes a bench. We all know that. The lawyer constitutes the members of a bar. We all know that. Bar council होती है. Okay, that is actually a group or a committee of lawyers. A division bench comprises of 2 or 3 judges. Division bench में division bench में minimum we need to have 2 judges and it can also have 3 judges. Okay. Constitutional benches में we need 5 or more judges. तो constitutional bench में minimum कितने होने चाहिए? 5. Divisional bench में कितने होने चाहिए? 2. And till date we had our constitutional bench जिसमें 13 judges थे. Okay. Now let's study about tribunals. Apart from these judicial bodies, Indian judiciary is also characterized by numerous semi-judicial bodies involved in dispute resolution. These bodies function as semi or quasi-judicial bodies because they may consist of administrative officers or judges without legal background. Very first thing, what do we mean by quasi-judicial? As it is very much clear with the help of semi word. Quasi judicial refers to semi judicial. And what do we mean by semi judicial? ये एक तरीके से कोर्ट की तरह काम करती हैं. They work like a court. They work like a judicial body, but they are not completely a judicial body. And क्या सबसे बड़ा क्या डिफरेंस हो सकता है? क्यों ये जुडिशियल की तरह काम कर सकती है पर ये जुडिशियल बॉडी नहीं है? क्योंकि the administrative officers as well as we can say them judges necessarily need not to have a legal background. They can be people who don't have any legal background, but they are specialized in their specific sector. They are experienced and specialized in their sector. That's why they are part of the tribunal. तो ट्रिब्यूनल में क्या होता है? ये बहुत सेक्टर स्पेसिफिक होते हैं. ये नहीं है कि आप वहाँ पे जाके कोई भी केस कर सकते हो. आप हर एक सेक्टर के अलग ट्रिब्यूनल होते हैं और आप वहाँ पे जाके सिर्फ उसी सेक्टर से रिलेटेड, उसी एरिया से रिलेटेड जो प्रॉब्लम है वो रखेंगे और सॉर्ट आउट करने वाले जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ऑफिसर है या जज है वो उस एरिया का, उस सेक्टर का एक बहुत ही स्मार्ट बंदा होगा, जिसे इंटेलिजेंट बंदा होगा, जिसे बहुत नॉलेज होगी. सो वो मैटर को रिजॉल्व कर सके और हमारे जो नॉर्मल कोर्ट्स हैं उनका बर्डन शेयर हो सके. Yet they function in their judicial capacity and hear relevant legal matters and settle claim between the parties. What is important? Relevant legal matters. जो उनके एरिया के हैं वो सिर्फ वही सुनेंगे. Okay? Tribunals have been constituted under specific constitutional mandate enshrined in the Constitution of India or through legal enactments. Example, a law passed by the legislature. Now we are talking about how do tribunals are formed. Either they are formed by, they are already a part of constitution, they have their authority or power from constitution, or they are formed by a law passed by the legislature. या तो वो constitution में से already run हो रहे हैं या फिर legislature कोई enactment pass करके बनाता है tribunals को. Their creation aims at increasing efficiency in resolving dispute and reducing the burden on courts. Main purpose क्या है tribunals का? To increase the dispute resolving efficiency and to reduce the burden on courts. So first purpose is that matters should be sorted out as quickly as possible. Second is the burden on general courts should be reduced. Example of some of these tribunals include Central Administrative Tribunal for resolving the grievances and dispute of central government employees, State Administrative Tribunal for state government employees, Telecom Dispute Settlement Appellate Tribunal for resolving dispute in the telecom sector in India, and National Green Tribunal for dispute involving environmental issues. अब हमने कुछ एग्जाम्पल्स दे रखे हैं, ये सब ट्रिब्यूनल्स हैं और ये सब, जैसे कि ये सबसे पहला वाला एग्जांपल है सेंट्रल एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ट्रिब्यूनल फॉर रिजॉल्विंग द ग्रीवेंसेस एंड डिस्प्यूट्स ऑफ सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉयज़। अगर सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉयज़ को कोई भी प्रॉब्लम आती है अपने एम्प्लॉयर से, या फिर कोई भी कंसर्न जो प्रॉब्लम आती है उनकी बीइंग अ गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय होते हुए, वो सब कहाँ पे रिजॉल्व होगी? सेंट्रल एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ट्रिब्यूनल में। Some of these tribunals work with regulators. Now, what are regulators? Let's see. Regulators are specialized government agencies that oversee the law and order compliance in relevant government sector. Who are regulators? अभी हमने tribunals पढ़ा. Tribunals क्या करते हैं? वो matter dispute resolve करते हैं. Firstly, now we are studying about रेगुलेटर्स। ये भी स्पेशलाइज्ड गवर्नमेंट एजेंसीज होती हैं, पर ये क्या करती हैं? दे ओवरसी द लॉ एंड ऑर्डर कंप्लाइंस। दे सी कि क्या हमें किस तरीके के लॉज चाहिए, क्या कंप्लाइंस हो रही है, कोई हमें चेंज लाना है, क्या करना है, ठीक है। फॉर एग्जांपल वन ऑफ द ट्रिब्यूनल TDSAT functions alongside the regulator of TRAI, right? Now, to resolve the telecom related disputes, we have TDSAT and it works alongside TRAI. TRAI is Telecom Regulatory Authority of India in formulating laws and resolving telecom disputes in India. Now you see, they both help each other. जो ट्रिब्यूनल्स होती हैं वो क्या करती हैं? ये एक दूसरे को कॉम्प्लीमेंट करके काम करते हैं। ये हमें कैसे क्लियर होता है? फॉर्मुलेटिंग लॉ एंड पॉलिसी फॉर रिजॉल्विंग टेलीकॉम डिस्प्यूट इन इंडिया, ठीक है। एक दूसरे के लिए हेल्प करते हैं। रेगुलेटर से ट्रिब्यूनल को फ़ायदा होता है, रेगुलेटर से ट्रिब्यूनल को फ़ायदा होता है, और ट्रिब्यूनल से रेगुलेटर को फ़ायदा होता है, ठीक है। दोनों एक दूसरे की हेल्प करते हैं। देयरफॉर दीज ट्रिब्यूनल कॉम्प्लीमेंट एंड सप्लीमेंट द रोल ऑफ कोर्ट्स इन मेंटेनिंग लॉ एंड जस्टिस इन द सोसाइटी। अब ये भी क्लियर हो रहा है हमें। ये बहुत अच्छी लाइन है, अगर आपको याद रहती है तो अपने बोर्ड्स में लिखने के लिए, ओके। नाउ वी हैव लेट अस पॉन्डर। India has no courts of appeal unlike the UK. The Law Commission has in its 227th report recommended setting up 4 regional benches of the Supreme Court in Delhi, Chennai, Kolkata and Mumbai. However, the full Court of Supreme Court has rejected the Law Commission's suggestion for establishing a constitutional bench in Delhi and cascation benches in 4 regions. The Indian Supreme Court hear more than 50,000 cases a year. The UK and US Supreme Court, on the other hand, hear less than 100 cases a year on average. India, unlike the US, has a unified judicial system, so each state does not have a separate hierarchy of courts that adjudicate state law. Discuss the benefits and demerits of having regional benches of Supreme Court. Now, this is your homework. Do some research, discuss it with your elders or your friends. Have some Google research done on it. This is the main question. Discuss the benefits and demerits of having a regional bench for Supreme Court in India. So that's all for today. Let us know if you face any problem and what is the answer of this question, okay.